Hi, I'm Freya from Expecting. I'd like to talk to you about pets and babies. Now let's face it, if you're a dog or cat owner, they are your first child. But have you thought about introducing your newborn to your dog or cat? Have you thought about some safety measures you can take and things that you can do that help prevent jealousy? This is Minnie and she's not actually my pet. I've borrowed her from a friend. My pets are chickens and as far as I'm aware, chickens don't really get jealous. It's a good idea to introduce any changes you're going to make early on. This gives your dog or cat a chance to get used to those changes. So if you buy any equipment for the baby, like a car seat or a buggy or a Moses basket, have them in the house, which allows the dog or cat to get used to them and give them a good sniff. Now, some dogs can get quite stressed when walking alongside a buggy with the wheels spinning. So get the dog used to walking alongside a buggy by either going for a walk with an empty buggy, if you don't mind what the neighbours think, or going for a walk with a friend with a buggy and a baby and your dog. You can play baby sounds to cats and dogs, and you can find these online and play them at a volume that's quite realistic. Now, if this causes your dog or your cat stress, then turn the volume right down and give them lots of reassurance, and then very slowly increase the volume till it becomes like a normal level and they get a chance to get used to it. Some practical things that you can do is getting a baby gate, and a baby gate can separate rooms and therefore separate the dog and the baby, or the cat and the baby. Now, think about where you feed your dog or cat. Where do you keep their food, their water, and maybe a litter tray? This isn't going to be a big problem when your baby's a newborn, but at some point your baby's going to be crawling and putting things in their mouth. And the last thing you want them to put in their mouth is dog or cat food, or heaven forbid, a litter tray. Also, dogs and cats need to be able to eat or drink in peace. They don't want a baby coming up to them, and they may get actually quite anxious or even vicious if somebody approaches them, especially a little newborn. So think also about where your dog or cat sleeps. Do they sleep in your bedroom? If that's the case, it might be worth getting them to sleep downstairs, and that may involve introducing a new bed or even a dog cage. But with plenty of time in advance, they can get used to this and they won't feel pushed out if you're suddenly making them sleep downstairs when the baby arrives. Cats love to sleep in snuggly places, and there's nowhere more snuggly than next to a newborn, and cats have actually been known to climb inside Moses baskets and sleep next to the baby, which can make the baby overheat, and they've even been known to smother the baby accidentally. You can get crib nets, which are, as they sound, a net that goes over the crib or Moses basket that help prevent cats from doing this and keeps your baby safe. When you first introduce your baby to the dog or cat, you might want to introduce their clothing first. So if you've got some clothing that the baby's been wearing, it will smell of the baby, and that's a good slow introduction. When you actually introduce the dog or cat to the baby, see if you can get somebody else to take the dog for a walk so that they're quite tired when they first meet the baby. That way they're going to be less bouncy. Allow them to be quite inquisitive, allow them to sniff the baby, but don't allow them to lick the baby or become too boisterous. You can also buy plugins for cats and dogs. These plug into a socket and release pheromones, and they help reduce the stress levels in a dog or a cat. Hopefully, by following these tips, you can actually help your dog or your cat and your baby become lifelong friends. It's vital that you never leave dogs and cats alone in a room with a baby. This is never to be done because you can never 100% trust a dog or a cat not to attack a baby. If you found these tips useful and you'd like further tips and a comprehensive antenatal course, check out expectingclasses.co.uk. We prepare people for labour and birth and early parenting, and you can find a midwife hosted course in your local area, or you can stream the course online from anywhere in the world. That's expectingclasses.co.uk.